September 9th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Leah Conover, Carlos Avia, Jessica Radonio,
Here.
Adina Hoover,
Here.
Kevin Marin,
Here.
Alexandria Mill,
Here.
Lauren Zakiri.
All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, in the absence of both our president and our vice president, we'll need to nominate a president pro tem to run tonight's meeting. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Jess Radonio.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, all right. Motion passed. Thanks, guys. All right, so we're going to begin first with the approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 12th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the August 12th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any public comment? Doesn't look like it. And so we'll move on to our consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Personnel recommendations: Valerie Gudgeon, Interim Director of Student Services; Jack Snyder, Long-Term Sub, Westmont High School Social Studies; Alyssa Alstrom, Long-Term Sub, Miller; Alyssa Vroljak, Teaching Assistant; Carly Greco, Principal Secretary; Allison Jagailo, Teaching Assistant; and Justin Schwach, Volunteer Baseball Coach at Westmont Junior High. Appointment of non-discrimination officers, coordinators, managers; appointment of Title IX officer; certification of hazardous crossing; approval of additional August 2025 expenditure report; and approval of student tour.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Marin,
Yes.
Miss Mill,
Yes.
Dr. Hoover,
Yes.
Miss Radonio.
Yes. Motion passes, right?
Motion carries.
All right, motion carries. Awesome. All right, and next we're going to hear from Dr. Braun about our summer school recap.
Two-step verification, sorry. Hold on.
No problem. While we're waiting, I'll just mention that we do not have a need for closed session tonight, and so we are just moving right into our open session agenda. We already did.
All right, so I'm excited. I get to do the summer school review. So over the summer, we had a really busy summer. Here's some really fun pictures that I thought I would add. We had lots of programs for our students pre-K all the way through 12th grade. So our elementary students had 5 different programs they could have been a part of. The June Boost was for most of, pretty much all of June and halfway through July. And that was a math and ELA focus for incoming 1st through 5th grade students, and that was invitation only for our kids who needed that extra support in math and ELA. We had 61 students attend, and the attendance for that program was pretty good, actually. ESY was, again, pre-K through 5th grade, and it was determined by the IEP team, eligibility for that. That was held at both Manning and South School. And 22 of our students attended that. That was a really successful program as well. STEM is always a favorite of our students. That was through the month of June, and 32 students attended that. And attendance for our STEM program is always really solid. It's pretty close to 100% attendance because kids are just so excited to go. That's with Mr. Ritz, and they do coding, science and engineering, really fun little projects throughout the summer. Then we had our Jump Start to Kindergarten, which has been wildly successful. It's a couple days at the end of July, and it's really to help our incoming kindergarten students so that when they come on the first day of school, it kind of eases their worries. So it's a nice little soft introduction to kindergarten. And there were 55 students who attended that, which is just out of our kindergarten students. We have about 100-ish kindergarten students, so a little more than half of our students attended. And then our Jumpstart to Dual Language, I'll show you a little video of that one at the end. That one's also an incredibly fun program. And that is for our current kindergarten through 5th grade students who are enrolled in dual, and 48 students attended that. So there are a lot of opportunities over the summer for pretty much every kid to get involved in. That was the elementary programming.
Can I ask about the June Boost with the invitations and who attended, like a percentage?
The June Boost?
Yeah. So
Yes. I can get the exact number for you, but there are kids who go on vacation and stuff, so we always say, like, we'd prefer you to just attend for what you can. So our attendance is a little bit off because that extends for such a long period, Monday through Thursday. But I want to say it was about 70-ish%, but I can get back to you on the exact percent attendance. But yeah, like STEM generally has a higher attendance rate. Jumpstart to Kindergarten because it's shorter, and it's kids who are signing up because they really want to be there. Not that our kids don't want to be in June Boost, but it's a different program. And then our summer program for junior high, the Reading and Math Rising is very similar to the elementary June Boost. So it's a math and ELA focus, and it's for 6th or 8th grade students who are in math and reading intervention. 33 students attended that program. The junior high always does a great step up for our incoming 6th grade students. Same idea as the kindergarten program, but this is for 2 days, and 38 of our students attended that. And then there's a Compact 8cc math course that's through the month of June. It's an online course, and it's for kids who want to make that jump from 7th grade Common Core Math to Math 1 for their 8th grade year. And 46 students completed that. And then we again had our virtual summer programming through IVSA, and that was open to all kids in our district, kindergarten through 8th grade, who wanted to be a part of that. And students had the option to use their school-issued devices. And then it's through IVSA, so it's separate from us, but we help to get them enrolled. And then once we enroll them, then IVSA kind of takes over. But 32 total students attended. 8 of them were Miller students, 6 Manning students, and 18 junior high students. And then high school, there were 5 different programs that our kids could have been a part of. Credit recovery, 10 kids attended that program, and that's for 10th through 12th grade students who are credit and skill deficient. The Jump to AP Geography is a really fun program that our kids are in. 60 students attended that. That's how fun it is. And it's really designed to expose kids to expectations of AP Human Geography. There's Team Transitions in English and Math, and that's designed for any student with literacy and math skill needs who is enrolled in literacy or math workshop. And 25 students attended that. And then freshman orientation, 88 of 98 students attended that. And that's really just one day to prepare all of our incoming freshmen for a smooth transition into high school. And then summer bump, 1 day weekly from June through August. It's for 9th through 12th grade students looking for support and enrichment, and 12 kids attended that. So it was a very busy summer. We had a lot of staff members involved to make sure that our kids had really cool opportunities throughout the summer. Some of them programs were invitation only, and a lot of them were open to anyone who wanted to be a part of it. And then I want to end with a really fun little video. I hope the sound works. I didn't even think about that. Oh, the sound is not working on this, but It's a fun video of that Salta Adelante program for our dual students, and it's just a fun little video of all the students in the program. But there's pictures of their field trips. They went on field trips in Westmont, and they got to see some places, and they had a lot of fun. So the sound makes it cuter because there's like...
It's really cute. I watched it earlier today. It's really
It's a very cute
Yeah,
program,
it
but they
is.
visited the bank.
They did a great job.
Yeah, it's a really fun program.
Can I ask for the high school, I know geography is obviously a freshman class, right, that we jump into, or world history. Are there other like AP classes that they jump into freshman year? Like, and why is there not like a kind of a jump into that program besides social studies, I guess?
Absolutely. I'm going to have Jack answer that one. Yeah.
So there are schools that don't even allow freshmen to take AP.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So the fact that we have about 75% of our freshmen taking it is probably the highest inclusivity rate that you will find. If there's a student, and there's a rare exception that is going to, this has happened, it's pretty rare, who wanted to take an AP class, it's been considered, and it has happened, but not very often because there are so many other requirements. All the students have to take biology pretty much.
Yep.
They take a math class. They will take AP and social studies, and then they have to take physical education most often. They usually will take a language and they get an elective. So, and then in sophomore year, the AP options really do open up. Students could take 2 to 3 AP if they chose to. I'll go on record as saying I don't think any school that I can find has more AP opportunities as early as we do. So.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was, because at our school too, the freshman AP curriculum is mostly social studies, but I didn't know if there was other options offered, like.
Not usually for the freshmen. I think because they're coming in from a junior high to that's the one class, I guess. There are
Their schedules
exceptions,
get
but-
filled up with everything they're required to take.
So there are not many other AP as a freshman that they can take.
Yeah.
So then no other introduction, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's take math, for instance. They need the prerequisite classes to be ready. We do have sophomores who take AP calculus if they're ready for it, and some are. It's not very often, but they do. By junior year, it's very prevalent. The same thing in science. It happens. AP Environmental Science. We have many sophomores who are in AP World and AP Environmental Science, or they could take other options too. The AP English courses are pretty much the composition and then the literature, which are junior and senior options. And I'm trying to think, and so that's pretty much the rationale.
Okay.
They need some prerequisite courses to be prepared for AP. But we don't, there have been times if students requested it, that we've had freshmen take multiple courses, rare. Sophomore year, we do have a handful of students taking 2 classes, and then by junior and senior year, it's pretty, as intense as they want it to be.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thanks, Carla.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla, nice work.
Great work. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Ron O'Connor about financial reports and working cash transfer.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. So the first thing is that I'd like to make sure that the public is aware that we are looking at alternate ways for funding. We are listening to recommendations. For example, one of the pieces that we were looking at was Kalen 302 and their bond refinance. The thing is, though, Kalen has enough in debt where they have to spend $12 million a year to pay off their debt. We're nowhere near that. We're about $1.6 million. We're also looking at state funding. For example, the constructions grant is coming back up. We're at $50,000. And then federal dollars and any sort of local assistance. It ties in as well with the TIF dollars that we're looking at as well from for pertaining to Manning that may need to come sooner than later. today I saw a video from Dr. Ryan of an issue where the nurse's bathroom is, when you flushed, feces would come up into the kitchen. So they had to get a plumber out there and clean that up and take it out, but we've had issues with both Manning and Miller with plumbing. And as you can tell, the village has had to do a lot of work around those schools, so it should be an obvious indicator that there are issues with our facilities. And then the working cash piece, we have approximately a little over $600,000 in working cash. I'd like to move that in the next, probably, it could be in the next month, to be honest with you, $600,000 of that so that we can just keep things going for our facilities. It would be a disservice for us to let things continue to fall apart when we have students housed in those buildings as well as staff. So it's getting to that point where I think we'd have to move some of that to our construction pieces and start spending.
I have two questions. The first question is about the alternate funding sources. In your opinion right now, and looking at those, do you think that's enough? And this is jumping ahead just a little bit to like the item prioritized list of projects. Will that like put a dent in anything, or is it not nearly enough? Is it close? Like, what's your estimate of what those alternate funding sources could potentially bring in?
In all honesty, looking at how the district is doing with alternate funding sources and the needs primarily at those two buildings, I don't see how an alternate funding source could take care of most of those, even let alone a little bit of them. When I was at North Chicago, it was a pain just to get $4 million from the state for a working boiler. And they even pushed back on that. So this is one of those examples where we really need to start rethinking, hey, there's a reason why there were those listening sessions, why we had those committee meetings on that with communicating, because there is a need. You know, I feel like I'm still not necessarily an outsider because I've been now with the district, but from my perspective of different places I've been in my leadership roles, it's just a pretty rough situation.
I know a lot of stakeholders ask about those alternatives. And things that we can do, and definitely we can do them, but like you said, it's jumping ahead a little bit, but to say what we have to do and what, you know, no, I'm not going to put down any amount of money to say it's, you know, it's nothing, but just when you compare what we can get done and how do we even start to work on something starting with a small amount. Like, I know it's a little bit, it can be a huge challenge to say, yes, we want to start work on plumbing, knowing how much we have to do. I don't know. I figure that's going to be a huge challenge, even to say, what can we start with a small amount compared to what we have to do. But because I want to do it responsibly also.
For sure. For example, I mean, Caneland has one of the highest tax rates in the area when it comes to the bonding piece, but all they're doing to try and, I guess, survive is it's just like refinancing a mortgage. So they're extending that, and then whatever space they have remaining, they're trying to add more to that. And to be honest with you, the federal piece is not looking very, very good. I think you've seen that they're looking at getting rid of that, you know, those dollars in those title funds and grants. The state is trying to balance, so that's another issue. It's just, right now, it is going to be difficult. Like when we discuss the budget again in the next couple weeks, things will look as they are. But again, I warn everybody that it is a map. And with two facilities of those natures, like, it can truly blow a budget. Because if you keep putting Band-Aids onto something, they're only temporary. So.
One of the things that also came out of listening sessions and that we have heard a lot is just that need for transparency. I think it's really everybody who's here and anybody who might be watching knows that we are actively exploring alternative funding sources, which was really important to the community. How can we publicize that a little bit more? Like, does that go into the documents that we just put together to articulate what those alternative funding sources are, so people are very sure that we are due diligence, like looking at that, researching it, and here's the practical kind of amount, estimated amount, and still not enough. I just think it's really important for people to know we did that, because that's something that they ask for. So just thinking from a PR kind of perspective.
For sure.
I have to say this. If there was free money out there, everybody would be getting it, including
So
us.
true.
This is the way that you improve your facilities when the time comes to do significant renovation is you go to your taxpayers and get their permission to do it. Because if the money was available, then everybody would get after free money, but it just doesn't make any sense. The alternative to add some kind of a sales tax was rejected by the Village of Westmont. And we'd have to be a home rule district to even consider that, which we're not. So that is an idea that has been explored, and we can explore it again, but it's not a realistic idea. And the idea that, like, as Ron explained, Caneland, as an example, extended their debt. But the way they did that was through almost refinancing. There is no free money out there. It just doesn't, I would be very suspicious if it was. So we used the mechanism, which is a referendum. Now what came as we're going into the listening sessions was, one of the things we learned is to re-look at renovating Miller and Manning and not building a new building. Even though the initial survey said that was what most people preferred. Okay, so now, live, a living document, we have unbelievable detail about what it would cost to renovate Miller and Manning. And it's sourced, everything is sourced very clearly. We'll take feedback, there's the opportunity for feedback, but the detail is intense. If anybody says transparency, or what exactly is gonna cost, or how did you come to these numbers, that is all explained in tremendous detail on our website for anybody to go see and explore. I cannot imagine that most citizens are going to take advantage of it, but anybody who wants to can dig in at the deepest level possible. And we revised that document multiple times, and it's sourced, and it's layered, and it's detailed as you can imagine. And if there's still questions, we will take that input. But that's the next piece that I want to, on our agenda, is to talk about that is live and present. I don't know how we could be any more transparent.
Can I just ask one more question about the
course.
working cash transfer? Can you just explain where that comes from, where to where?
So the working cash transfer.
And I'm sorry, and the impact, potential impact, like on the budget.
Absolutely. So working cash is typically a loan against itself in the district. So that you have it's what they call the 70 fund. So it's money you have set aside that you would put in it from a bond or other issuances from the past. There is, again, north of $600,000 in there. You can transfer that with board permission over time. So for example, the $600,000 that we're looking to, I would like to move that to the capital projects fund, because the capital projects fund, and all of my doings, I guess, within other districts has been, that's the savings. That's like when you need the new roof for your house. That's when you need to be able to take care of anything that has to do with the shell. So that's where I would like to move that, because there is still a leak at the high school on the roof, at least one I know of. We're having these plumbing issues, and again, I can't emphasize enough, if anyone were to think that the district were to make something like that up, look around the streets and trying to drive around Westmont. Even the village is trying to take care of this. So that kind of puts the district in one of those binds. It can be used for pretty much anything that is construction related. So when it comes to heavy pieces like that, you can't spend it just out of the one fund. You'd have to move it to this one, the one I was looking for. So that, at a whim, if we were to need something, like Manning needed a new intercom system, that's $23,000. That could go from there. Anything with safety, security, anything having to do with the environment for a child and the staff, that's what that 60 fund is for. And that's something I would like to educate the community and the board on, and saying, this is something we need to continue to do and put money into, but at the same time, if we keep doing Band-Aids, you're never going to be able to save anything.
So what's the risk that we take out of that fund? What won't we have?
Yeah, is there some other fund that would need that money instead of infrastructure? Are we, robbing Peter to pay Paul?
The money is currently sitting there and it's not earmarked. So if anything, it's a non-operating fund, which means that even when the state looks at its scores for how well a district is doing, it does not count in that score. The 60 fund, which is our capital projects fund, does not either. This, though, you can't help but see what's happening. Like, again, when I was at Manning today and you saw, whatever, sewage gushing up from the floor in the kitchen, that's horrible.
Yeah.
So I'll just explain,
So
like,
that's the
why-
type of stuff it would take.
Why was that created? What was the idea for that? Like, is it because of, well, you just answered that part. Is it because of scores that shows that we have a healthy, balanced rainy day fund? Like, why create that cash fund?
So the 70, which is working cash, it's a mechanism from the state so that when that money is in there, you can move it. And it's almost like, it's not a savings per se, it kind of is, but it kind of is ready for those emergencies of sorts. The 60 fund is that rainy day fund, and that's what they call the capital projects fund. Those two do not count when it comes to certain items such as fund balance or scores for the state, because the state looks at your ed fund, which is your 10 fund, which is education, 20, which is operations and maintenance, your 40 fund, which is your transportation. And then if you go below a certain threshold with your 50, which is like paying for IMRF or Social Security for staff, then that counts against it. But right now it doesn't. So we want to keep it that way. In the meantime, though, it's one of those where it's you look at the basics of just taking care of a child or a staff, and the immediate need in this district is your capital projects. I mean, if you compare those facilities with anybody else, I get it, people may be upset about it, but I'll be on record in saying it's among the worst I've seen, and that's including like in North Chicago, which the state took over because of how broke they were. But every other day, it seems like there's another instance of, I just can't understand how we can just sit there and let that happen.
So, again, getting into what's on our agenda for discussion and what's been put out, the extensive information to let our public know, like they have an amount, but how does that compare to the amount of work we have to do? Like, it is a lot of money. I'm not putting it down, but in the scope of things, someone can take a look themselves and say, okay, they have this in their working cash. Why can't we fix the building? They can answer that question themselves.
You don't have anything else outside of it. So once that $600,000 is gone, we have to hold out. We have to be able to tax a certain amount into it to keep that open so that we can continue to save for those rainy days and moving it. But once that money's gone, it's gone. And the district that 600 is probably the last move with that fund before now it's gone. I will add, though, it is nothing to do with anything irresponsible. The problem is that the buildings have so many needs. Yeah. So, and I've heard that from other community members. That was one of the first things. It was actually a privilege for me to come here to see just how the trust from the board and from Mr. Balderman and administration, because it's a lot of work to be done in those facilities. And it's something that we got to tackle head on.
Jack, do you want to say more? We're kind of in our agenda items 3 and 4, but moving on to the listening sessions and the
Just a quick
facility committee meeting.
Just a quick summary. The things we heard were, we need more detail. I don't know how we could provide more detail than what's currently on the list. It's extensive and it's been sourced. We show where we got this information from. If anybody has further questions, there's a feedback form. But it's an incredible level of detail that's provided about what it would cost. Because the other thing we learned from the listening session was, would we consider renovating Miller and Manning instead of building a new building? That's an option. So, to that end, we provided all the details for what that would cost. It's available, it's for the whole world to see, and there's the opportunity. And we will have a finance and facilities meeting in October, I believe, where we will re-discuss this.
And then, I know this is probably more PR meeting. When is our next PR committee meeting?
It was listed.
That is
Was
in
it? I know, there were
November,
so
if
many.
I'm not mistaken. November 18th.
Because we talked about, like, still how there's some gaps in getting, like, the document and everything that came from it is so great, and there's still some gaps in getting that out to everybody who's voting in the community. And so it probably at that meeting, maybe a little bit at Finance and Facilities, discussion about that next step. I know it's on the website and it's been published in a lot of places, but there are people who still don't have that. And we talked about mailers and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure everybody sees it, because I think that you're right. It's could not be more detailed, and it's an invitation for feedback as well, which is great.
Can I ask now that I feel like the information is out there, like you've been saying, we're very clear in what the cost is and what the needs are. Are there going to be more listening sessions about, do we renovate / do we build new before we make a decision on that?
Well, we have the Finance and Facilities meeting in October. We have a scheduled meeting for PR, but also for the board and admin, because there'll be need for some time for the board and the admin to talk about what is the next option. There is the option of going again to referendum in the spring of 26. I'm not saying I'm just saying it's an option. Or in the fall of 26. So, but we need to just have a discussion about that. And obviously, no decisions have been made.
Right.
So,
I just am more concerned with like what the community wants. You know, are we
Like if we go to referendum, which
Yes,
option is
yeah.
it? And we have talked a lot about that. Is it A, B, or C? And the A was renovate these buildings.
now that they
B was
have the numbers? though,
Exactly.
that they've been dying for the
Yep.
clear numbers and the location and all of these things, and now they've been given it. So
So back to that first question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I anticipate at some point in time, it will be put to the community. Here are the options. Do you want to renovate Miller and Manning at this dollar amount? Do you want to do something at the Manning site and not retain Miller? Do you want to re-entertain a new building? The option of not doing anything is just not feasible. That's what Ron's really saying.
Right.
agreed.
So
That the
at,
more we dig into our working cash and into our budget, there's not enough money there to do all the repairs that are necessary. And then we're putting our fund balances and the money that's meant to fund the district at jeopardy. But absolutely, to your point, before any decision is made, we will have another round of listening sessions of some nature and put options out there and get feedback from everybody.
I think at that October meeting, it'll be really important to come up with a timeline for that, because we've lost so much valuable time to make these renovations or fix things. And so if we can iron out what those few options are and our plan for getting as much community feedback on those options at that meeting seems to be like the priority, in my opinion. Okay. October, we don't know the date, October.
I think it's the October 28th meeting,
Okay.
correct? I had this in my head yesterday.
Is it 28th or 23rd? Let's get that.
Might as well say
It's a meeting day, I know for sure.
28th. Okay, thank you.
You're right, Shannon.
Okay, thank you.
28th is Finance and Facilities.
Great. All right, any other questions or comments on that item? The next item on our agenda is just about the critical incident information. Jack, can you just explain a little bit about that? Or you can, Shannon? Critical
Yeah,
incident.
so Mike Lipinski leads up our critical incident team for the district, and every summer he gets together with the emergency personnel from the fire department, the police department, and all the buildings, admin, and they go over the drills, the requirements, plans, threats, all that. They review what happened last year, what was good, what needs to be improved upon, and then we get everything together and coordinated for the drills we need to perform as required. And then we get our plans together and then we send them to the ROE. So they're available to the board. We don't make them available to the public for security purposes, but just so the board's aware that their plans are in there. And
Great.
And I believe the buildings have already started their drills.
I know that they have.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yep, so yeah,
Great.
that's about it.
Any questions there? Awesome. And then this time of year, we always just review our 6th day enrollment, so what the enrollment for every school, building, and the district in total was compared to the past 2 years. So Jack, you have those numbers?
Yes. Overall enrollment went from 1325 last year. It's at 1309 this year. So we're down 16 students district-wide. With that being said, we're more vigorous about residency checks than we have ever been. And that is a very sad at times situation, but it's necessary to protect the taxpayers. So we were more thorough doing checks, asking for stronger documentation than I think we have for, I would say ever, but at least in the last 15 to 20 years. And so part of the decline are families that we established did not actually live in the district. It came to approximately 12 students. So while enrollment declined by 16 students, we would say some of those students, 3/4 of them, really should not have been here. And that's not easy to tell a family that you can't be here, but it's the law, and it protects the people who do live in the district, and it lets us put the resources towards the taxpayers who are paying here. And we've never been this vigilant before that I can tell. On an average year, we would turn down 0 students. 0 through the residency process. This year, we had about a dozen. So the enrollments per building, 58 at South, which is up slightly, 180 at Miller, which is down slightly, down 13. Manning is actually up 2 students at 388. The junior high is down 5 students to 293. The high school is at 390, down 9 students currently, for a total district enrollment of 1309.
Great. All seems pretty standard to me, so that's great. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to policy, second reading. Kevin, Shannon, any
Does
updates?
anyone have any
Anything new?
questions?
No, we did this at the first reading at the last meeting.
There's no
so
questions.
vote
It'll
on.
be
Okay.
voted on in just a minute.
It'll be voted on right now.
Right
Moving
now?
on to action items. How about that? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the policies as updated in press issue 119 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Mill?
Yes.
Dr. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Redonio?
Yes.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Yep.
Moving on to superintendent's report.
I'll keep it brief, but we are off to a tremendous start. I can't even explain the culture in the buildings, the atmosphere, the student citizenship, the commitment of our teachers, the quality of our admin team responding, the parent involvement, have been incredible. And so I'm very proud. We've really pushed the idea of compassion first and last, that the way we treat each other is the most important thing, and that we're not just raising intelligent people, but people who care about this world and each other. That's been our constant theme. The kids have been incredible. I'll reiterate, please take a look at the data that's plentiful, and we're gonna republish. South School earned the Gold Standard Award. There's nothing higher. That's for preschools. Miller and Samsonovich and the team, unbelievable work. Their chronic absenteeism rate was 4.5%. That's top 1% in the state. Their 5 essential scores were 97, 98, 99, top 1% in the state. And their math and literacy scores are showing improvement. And the culture there is unbelievable. So congratulations to Sam and the team. Manning was just named, out of 208 schools in DuPage County, was ranked number 12. That's incredible. And the leadership there should be thanked, Lindsay and Jada. We have tremendous new leaders in Dr. Ryan and Steph Just. Their scores are improving. Their chronic absenteeism rate was amazing. But exemplary school, the highest rating, and Chicago Magazine says number 12 out of 208. It's just incredible. The junior high is the most improved school in Illinois. Give me another name. Go. I've searched the data. There's nobody. They went from 4 out of 10 to great schools to 10 out of 10. They're exemplary. They're ranked number 1 middle school in DuPage County by Chicago Magazine and by the Illinois State Board of Education. Number 1 in DuPage, Westmont, I'm telling you, it's incredible. Their test score increases over the last 2 years, 25 to 30% in literacy and math. It's unheard of. And their chronic absenteeism rate is under 5%. I don't, Amy and Mike and the staff there and the kids, I don't know what more they can do. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. And then you get to the high school that, of course, exemplary every single year. They were number 3 in Illinois for 5 essentials. Their chronic absenteeism rate was in the top 1%. Their test scores are through the roof. Before the state recalculated it, they get national recognition for the AP program and for the work they do as a professional learning community. So from pre-K, we're the gold standard, through 12th grade and everybody in between. And the most important thing that's really hard to our, besides the data, is walk into our buildings, talk to our kids. They are so well behaved and so hardworking, and it's a result of the teachers loving them. So we're off to a great start. I couldn't be prouder of our whole team, parents, board, admin, teachers, support staff, kids, community. Thank you for all your tremendous support. And here's the last thing I'll say. We're meeting Thursday, and Carla and Edith have devised a system. We are going to dig even deeper into our data about continuous improvement and getting even better. So and we always have more work to do, but it's going to happen.
Great. Thank you. Any board reports?
Yes, I want to build on what Jack just said. I went to the high school open house, and met the teachers. They just great enthusiasm, excitement, knowledge. I love going to the open houses. It's really exciting to me. It's a special atmosphere. I want to thank the 7th grade. They had a curriculum night. It was very informative. Went to the high school football games. Team's playing good. The band sounds good.
Yes.
It was exciting seeing cheerleaders and then the bitty cheerleaders there. It was a good time. So, and then finally, my last comment I want to make. I want to thank Mr. Landreth and Mr. Dunn for the Chinatown trip with the Geography Club. They had a whole bunch of kids out there on a Sunday to go. It just shows the enthusiasm of that club, and I know my son had a really good time going. So thanks.
I was going to say very similar things. I didn't make it to the Manning curriculum night, but I already know a lot about Manning. But the first time I can shout out the middle school, now that I have a junior higher. And it's really great to just see that not skipping a beat the same. You can just tell teachers want to be there, and I can promise you that's not every district or every school. And so we're really lucky to have that.
Yeah, as a teacher myself, I teach high school, but to go to Miller for my kindergartners, meet the teachers, back to school night, whatever they want to call it, they care, which is great. They're super enthusiastic, which again, not every school and not every teacher is like that. Yeah. And just, I think that speaks a lot to the environment of this district, is that people care and are willing to, like, I have teachers responding. I'm sending an email at, Sunday night, which they don't have to respond, but they're responding on Sunday night. And I think that speaks to the fact that, like, they care enough to do that. And yeah, just overwhelmingly, like, a great environment so far at Miller. And I only have a kindergartner, but just very excited to be a part of the district.
Any other board reports? Any public comment? No?
Do public comment?
Public comment?
I did not.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
I flew out but not.
Awesome. Can't wait. Then moving on then to future meetings and events. Just a couple of things coming up before our next board meeting. The Westmont High School Virtual College Information and Financial Aid Info. That's going to be on September 18th at 6:30. And then our next CUSD board meeting, September 23rd at 6:30 here at the Village Hall. That's it.
Just something it's not a board report, but just to add to this, I'm having my dates off as far as homecoming also, and just putting out to the board that as one of the great times I like participating if I'm not just standing there watching the kids. So as far as like participation and cheering on the kids, so it's something we should think about as to participate
tomorrow. See if anyone wants to participate.
Sounds good. Great. Any updates on communications? No? Okay. Then the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the September 9th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
So move.
Second. All those in favor?
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.